Nice. Hey guys, welcome to Office Hours, aka a Tuesday night that Padilla and I actually have time to answer questions.
No, actually, I was sitting there eating my dinner.
That's right.
John suddenly got this look on his face, and he's like, "Hey." Whenever I see that look, I should just go run and hide.
No, that means we need to answer questions.
My chair keeps rolling away.
That's okay. Okay, so we're going to answer as many as we can. But first, let's talk about my shirt.
It's very Charlie Brown meets Electric Daisy Carnival.
I know. You know what? It's one of those shirts where sometimes you like it, and then other times you're like, "What the fuck was I thinking?" And I think sometimes, especially when you wear something, or you try something on in the dressing room, and then you come home and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I bought orange pants." It's one of those shirts, and so today I like it, and I think I don't have orange pants. I can't pull off orange pants, but I'm usually just kind of like black t-shirt, jeans, boots kind of guy. But this shirt has color. I think real men wear color, which is why
do they wear neon color though?
This isn't neon.
This part is, right?
Yeah, well, I'm saying that because most of my clothes are black and white.
Real men wear color is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tip number one.
Tip number one. In their pants. Real men wear color in their pants.
Color in their pants?
In their pants, in their underwear.
Oh.
Bright. Okay, questions.
Oh, no, wait. We haven't done office hours in so long.
Yeah, I know.
We have to start off with housekeeping.
What
about stuff. What's new? Talk about the strainer.
No, I always feel like I'm selling myself when I'm doing that. Okay, I have a brand new app coming out called the Strainer, and Padilla designed it. Mm-hmm. It's like if you.
I wrote some of the questions too.
Yeah, she did a lot of work on it. So I always tell people that it's really about the questions we ask ourselves. The questions being the rudder to the to guide us in where we are headed, right? If we're talking about a boat, then the rudder would be the questions that we're asking ourselves. So the strainer asks.
I like that because usually people think they're obsessed with answers, but it's really the questions are more important than the answers.
I agree.
Because the questions make you start thinking in all different ways, and that's what's more important than having a concrete answer. Absolutely,
and I think a good coach, good therapist asks really interesting, challenging questions. And I think that's why you're actually really good coaches. The questions you ask are always thought-provoking. So the strainer has 20, not 10, but 20 questions, and it will calculate your answers, and it has a rating system. So at the end, it will
different aspects of your life.
And it'll tell you what you may want to work on. And you're gonna now. It's not just about dates. You could strain your container. You could strain your relationship. You could strain your marriage. You could strain your career. I'm gonna have one. You could strain your sex life. Yes, one for men, one for women. I'm going to have one where you could strain your therapist. I may fail on. All my clients are going to probably strain me and I'll fail. But anyway, so that's coming out like in the next week. And what else? There's a lot of new members in the community. That's exciting.
Going on in there.
Yep, more questions, more activity. Also, my team, they're amazing and they're doing sessions nonstop. And take advantage of them because they're really good.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you drinking a beer?
I am drinking a beer. So this is to celebrate, because I rarely drink, to celebrate us doing office hours on a quiet Tuesday.
I think it's Wednesday. Oh, no, you're right.
No, it's Tuesday.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, here's question one. Yes. Here's question one. Hi, I've been following Angry and enjoyed the chat you guys. When they say you guys, are talking about Padilla also, because she has a site called Unfucked Yourself, which is an interesting name. Enjoy the chat you guys have been putting out a lot. It seems like you guys went through some serious tough times and come out the other side. What's the advice for someone who's going through the darkest time of their life, her life? I feel like I'll never be happy again, unattractive, and a burden to others. So, as usual, I'm going to let you start while I get my my brain going.
Okay. Let's see. Advice for someone who's going through the darkest time of their life. I think the most important thing is to realize that the you saying that it's the darkest time of your life is just the value you're assigning to it. But in reality, it's actually something, a really exciting time, because I like to use the metaphor of a forest fire. If you look at a forest and you see that, it burning is part of its, a part of nature. It creates space for new things to grow, for new light to get in. The soil becomes fertile, and seeds can germinate. And I think that is a mistake that we make in life, is that when something catastrophic happens, or we find ourselves in a place where we feel like it's our darkest time, we freak out because we think, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. It's actually part of nature. You see it all throughout nature. And it's a time in your life where things are shifting beneath the surface. And it's a time when you actually have the most glue, because you're having difficulty to reach out to people and to really show them who you are, and to establish new bonds, and to you've cleared out so much, and in a sense you might feel like you have nothing left to lose. You're so low, so you can really start to think about where how you want the future to play out, as opposed to when things are going in a certain direction and everything is filled in. You don't have that type of freedom.
I'm going to answer this question by using my story, which is what I tend to do. I think about the darkest time in my life, and it was coming out of an expired relationship, and having to rebuild from nothing. Yeah. And I remember that's actually when I started this blog, and then eventually created a little bit of a following and helping people and finding a sense of purpose. So I like what she said. I think that's great. I really think, to piggyback off that, I really think that you have to know or believe that the darkest time in your life is when you're going to create the richest soil.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard to swallow that, because it's dark and your world is very small. But looking back in my story, that's the darkest time is when I was planting seeds. And now they say that you can't connect dots until you look backwards. So
it's true.
Yeah.
When you're in it, you can't see anything. You're in total darkness. And that's why I'm glad this person reached out, because I think it's important to find people who have been in those moments and come out of it, so that they can assure you that things are going to change. You're going to come out into the light again.
Look at the shadow that I'm putting on you. See that?
That's magical.
So what do you do if you're going through, or what you believe you're going through the darkest time in your life?
You have to trust.
Okay.
You have to trust that something is unfolding that is greater than this particular circumstance you're stuck in. Yeah. And you just can't see it yet.
One way to do that is to, I know this sounds kind of weird, but not make it about you.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the trenches and everything is about you and your life, and it's very easy to sink. It's very easy to fall into that quicksand. So a good way to kind of pull yourself out of it is to start getting involved. Don't isolate. So pull yourself out, get involved in a community, get involved in other people's lives. So one thing I did was I tried to give back by answering questions, blogging, doing sessions, answering emails, and hearing other people's stories helped me with mine.
Yeah.
And that's completely therapeutic. I don't know how powerful. People don't know the power in that we're not meant to do this by ourselves. And then when people usually are in the darkest time in their lives, they tend to isolate, they tend to close doors, stay inside, and that just gets worse and worse and worse. And I think you have to force yourself to pull yourself out of yourself and kind of get involved in other people's stories and community.
And that's the beauty of it too, is that that time forces you to do things you never would have done otherwise. Yeah. And so it's actually, when you go through it and a great time has passed, you look back and you realize that it was the beginning of something, whereas you felt like it was the end. but it forced you to do things that you wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah. I started following Unfuck Yourself at your suggestion.
You didn't say you were reading a new question.
Oh, I'm reading a new question. I started following Unsuck. I almost said Unsuck Yourself.
Oh,
That's a different blog.
Oh.
I started following Unfuck Yourself at your suggestion. I absolutely love her post.
Thanks.
So I was wondering, by the way, you're getting a lot of traffic now, and I've always said you were a great writer, and it seems like there's a lot of activity, and you're getting lots of momentum, and it's awesome to see you grow, because I was there when you first started your blog and your platform, and I've always thought it was amazing.
Can I interrupt you?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, actually, so I've been, really blogging a lot the last year or so, but I actually started that blog. It looked much different, but a lot of the content was not the Unfuck Yourself, the Balto Bunny one.
Yeah.
At the lowest point in my life, and so that's something that you can do in one of those moments, is think, okay, well, what is this experience giving me that I can use to somehow connect to the world, to share something, to help ease other people who are suffering in similar ways. And that's what I did. I just started this little blog, and it wasn't about getting followers or having anyone see it, but it was just about cataloging what I was going through and creating this body of work. And I knew that one day I would do something with it.
Right. And you didn't know what?
I didn't know what. So that's something, if you're a writer, a creative person at all, you can begin to do during these very dark times is put it into your work, so that you have some kind of a, like a legacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm proud of you for that.
Well, thank you.
Now I'm going to chop you down a little bit. This
Okay.
area here, the
It's
redness.
a disaster.
No, it's not. It's not a rash. It's not a rash. What it is it's an anxiety. It's anxiety.
nerves.
It's nerves.
I know.
But here's what's funny. I'm drinking this because this will turn me bright red, because I'm Korean and
It's
alcohol.
nerves.
Yeah, so my face is going to turn that color.
Can you hurry up? Can you speed it up? Chug. It's just.
So-
I'm such an introvert, and so doing stuff like this, I literally feel like I'm jumping off a cliff.
I know, and I applaud you for that, because I'm a total clown.
Yeah, but
and yeah, which is great. But you know what that is? That is not a rash. That is growth, my friends. That is growth. Okay.
That's me dying on the inside.
Okay, let's get back to other people. Okay, so I started following Unfuck Yourself at your suggestion after we left her post. So I was wondering if you have any other blogs you recommend. Maybe a list, please. I don't know of not.
No,
I'm not
there are
one.
none.
There are no
That's
other
the
blogs.
only blog.
It's the Angry Therapist and Unfuck Yourself are the only two that I know that even
Are worth anything.
well
No,
that are even that are helping. Okay, next question.
No, but you should. That's a good idea. You should start putting together a list.
I should. There are a ton of amazing blogs.
Yeah, and I'm coming across a bunch lately, because I'm starting to look at a lot of suicide prevention and cutting those kind of blogs. And there's some amazing resources.
There are.
And amazing writers, and it's interesting. Some of them are so young, and you can't believe how much depth they have. And
and I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of time to. I don't look at it as many blogs as I used to, but I know that there are a lot of amazing blogs out there. And
do you think it's clearing up a little?
It is a little bit. See, that's what happens. You announce something, and then you face your fear, and then.
Well,
this is like
I saw it happening, and then I started panicking worse.
Right, people are seeing treatment live as it's happening. So I just diagnosed you anxiety with anxiety, and
you're
that
brilliant.
right.
You're brilliant.
So that's the behavior that manifests. We talk about it. We process. We put it in front of you.
We drink beer.
And now it's slowly starting to go away. Do you know what I'm saying? So by the end of this, you may be cured of this. I don't know. Okay, so next question. I'm so fed up. How do I stop being addicted to my narcissistic partner? How do I move on? Stop thinking so much and take control of my life. How do I build my self-esteem back up? I need help.
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
I think first of all that it's great that this person realizes it's an addiction, because that's exactly what it is.
Addicted to their narcissistic partner. Okay.
That's a major step forward in being free of this, is realizing that it's an addiction. So when you look at it like that,
Mm-hmm.
with an addiction, you have to assess what are you getting out of it, and is it real or is it something that you're chasing? Usually, it's something that.
Look at these. Look at this. I could do little. I'm sorry, on your face. I could do a little shadow
You
monster.
see what I could do on your face?
Wow.
No,
Oh my gosh! I will pay you.
I meant like
I'll pay you.
horns or something.
Sorry.
Oh, my chair keeps rolling away. I need a rope.
People are
Okay, what was I saying?
Okay.
Addiction. What are you getting out of your addiction? And is it real or is it because that's the thing about addiction. You think you're getting something out of your habit, but are you really getting it? Or is it just that is it just that state of yearning, of craving, of lack, of needing and of being denied the true thing that you're seeking? That is the pattern in addiction,
Right.
I think. So, go ahead. You're breathing in.
Yeah.
I can tell you
Okay,
how to
so if
interrupt
you're
you.
fed up, what you're fed up is about is being addicted to people that are narcissistic, and there's a reason why you're addicted to that. So you have to review your story
Yeah.
and your patterns and see why that is a pattern for you, what you're getting out of these relationships. You're getting something out of it, and you may not be aware of what that is. It might be subconscious, but that is making you gravitate toward narcissistic
Yeah.
men or women. I don't know. So how do you move on, stop thinking so much, and take control of your life? I think the way you take control of your life, step one is to know that this is an addiction and it's a problem that you need to. You know what? A lot of people don't think that codependency and being addicted to narcissistic other people is like a legit addiction. They think that it's more of like, it's it's
not true.
Yeah,
It's
and
so painful.
you have to treat it like that's your heroin.
It's true. It destroys your life.
It can.
Absolutely.
And you're also creating. Look, I'm getting red. And you're
are?
also. Yeah, I am.
No, you're not.
I am. I'm getting red. And you're also creating a space that's going to stunt your growth by putting yourself in that cycle, that pattern again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So.
How do I build self-esteem back up? Well, you can't unless you leave that. Be aware of it. Leave it, and create a safer space for yourself. A safe, what I call a container. I think cracked containers is what prevents growth. And if you're in a relationship or addicted to someone that is unhealthy for you, or a relationship that's unhealthy, it's hard to build up self-esteem.
Yeah, and you're always in a state of not being satisfied. So when you separate from that, you can compensate for that. You can satisfy yourself. You can build satisfaction into your life on so many levels. And that once you get a taste of that, it becomes very appealing, and you get stronger and stronger to the point where not being satisfied is no longer appealing. This is something that I could really talk about because my mom was an extreme narcissist, and so I went out into the world into these types of relationships.
Patterned after the one you have with your mom.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would date narcissistic men.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, sort of having this idea in my head of what was possible, but never having it in reality, but always believing that if I just did whatever, that I could have it. That was the pattern of the addiction.
Yes.
So
being aware of all that, and then the other half is executing.
Examining your story is very important, like you said.
Yeah.
And the thing is that constant yearning for the attention of the narcissist is a huge source of static in your life. It blocks out a lot of other things. You don't have to. It sort of saves you from having to focus on yourself, from having to pursue your interests, from having to pursue your dreams, from having to take a lot of risks and face a lot of your fears. So it's serving a purpose for you. It's keeping you in a comfort zone, and you have to decide if that's really where you want to live, never knowing what it's like to pursue all of those things that you can see very clearly if you don't have that constant yearning for someone who cannot see you, who's never going to give you that love that's going to satisfy you on that level.
I like that. You know what? That should be a non-negotiable. I'm always thinking about new and interesting non-negotiables.
Must wear brand name underwear.
Must wear colorful underwear.
Colorful.
Oh, brand name. That was yours.
Yeah.
They must see you.
Yeah.
They must see you. Mm-hmm. That's good. Okay. Next one. Having an affair should stop. Can't. That's all it says. Is having an affair should stop. Can't. That's not a question. It's a statement. And thank you. Good luck.
That's all they wrote.
That's all they wrote.
That's an interesting person
yeah.
right there.
It's almost like a calling out for help, but I don't know.
But they're not sure if they want help.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? Good luck. Let me know how that works out.
Are you not going to say anything?
Having an affair should stop. Can't. So they know they should stop, but they can't. So I mean, for a lot of people, they're not going to stop until they've hit their quote unquote rock bottom. So I don't know anything about this affair. I don't know if there's children involved or whatever, but it sounds like they feel guilty about it, but they can't do it. What advice would you give?
Well, I have basically one statement since we don't really know any details about this. I think that, and I think I've said this many times, people should live their life however they want. If you want to be promiscuous, if you want to get involved in all kinds of things that are, very untraditional and whatever, however you want to judge them or label them, do it. But don't waste someone's heart and energy believing you're someone else. I think that is really cruel, and I think it's very disrespectful to a person's lifetime to the other person's short amount of years on this planet. It's one of the most disrespectful things I think you can do to another human being.
I like that. Okay.
So there you have it.
Yeah. Next question. You're such an inspiration. I'm a therapist in training, about to finish my last year. I want to start my own therapeutic blog. It's good to know that there's someone else out there too.
That's not a question.
I always sprinkle in compliments and then feel bad.
You put that in the list of questions.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
The next question.
Chair is
Your
rolling away.
Okay, your bacon post made me follow you. Your Tumblr is truly inspirational.
Do you need a little?
These are real questions. These are real things that fall into my inbox.
There is no question mark at the end of that.
Yeah, but no one uses punctuation correctly, so it throws me off. Okay, next question. Love my husband.
Ego stroke. Your hair looks beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Your skin is so soft.
Thank you. Love my husband, but things are getting boring. Been married for 4 years, and I have to do a lot for him.
Let me interrupt this.
Okay.
Go ahead, never mind.
We have a child. She's 2. I don't want to leave him, but I don't want to be stuck either. There's another person who seems interested in me, but he's 6 years younger than me and still really immature, but I enjoy his company. I know I shouldn't even be considering this since I'm married, but I believe husband, has had his fun with a previous girlfriend just last year. Please help. Okay, I want to say that it seems like what's bothering her is that she believes her husband had his quote-unquote fun with a previous girlfriend last year.
And that means that the baby was just born.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that belief is this wondering if she should have an affair, this wondering if things, the fact that things are getting boring and she's got this other guy that's 6 years younger than her and she's got this drift is partly due to her belief that her husband has had fun with a previous girlfriend a year ago. So you got to go to the source and you got to resolve that. You got to figure out, well, you have to communicate and you got to call him out on that. And I don't know why she believes that, whether she has proof or whatever, but it's bothering you and it's affecting your relationship, your marriage. So you have to deal with that first.
Yes.
And if you can resolve that, maybe things won't be boring. Maybe you won't be looking at guys 6 years younger,
Yeah. And I would have to question the character of someone who pursues not only someone who's married, but someone who has a 2-year-old. The other girl, the other guy who seems interested.
Oh, the 6 years younger guy.
Yeah. And seems interested and still really immature.
And maybe just a sexual thing. Maybe he's.
Or a conquest. Some people kind of get a thrill out of seeing what they can destroy.
Right. That being said, there are a lot of people in marriages where it's just completely dead. And it's going to take a miracle to get it up and going.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know where you are in your marriage. You said things have been getting boring. I love my husband, but things are getting boring. Been married for 4 years. You would have to explore boring and what that means.
Yeah.
You know?
When I was about to, well, I was in therapy a couple years ago when I was married, and one thing that my therapist said to me that really struck me, because I had a lot of guilt because I was extremely bored.
But were you bored, or would you use that word to cover up something else?
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
why you gotta call me out?
I gotta call you out because that's what I do.
No, there was a lot of other things
Of
going
course,
on, but
of course.
there was a component of boredom. I felt like he was always the same person,
Oh,
always
right,
did the
right.
same thing,
Right.
always said the same things, always reacted. It was like I could have had a recording, a robot in my life. It wasn't a human being, and I felt very guilty for feeling that way. And she said to me that, you know, when you're married, it is both of your responsibility to stay interesting to each other. And I don't know why, but I always carried that with me. I thought that was fascinating. It's true. It's you know, and I think he's not the only one who's being boring in this situation. If two people are bored with each other, you're both giving each other just enough to get by. Someone needs to rock the boat.
And I gotta say that if there are no quote unquote issues, but you're in a healthy marriage and it's been a while and you're just bored, well then take responsibility and do something to spice it up and be the leader that is going to turn this around and put a spark back into this marriage, you know, instead of just complaining about it being boring.
Yeah, it's not his responsibility necessarily.
Well, I just think that you could start something and get something going without depending on the other person, and whatever fun looks like to
Even
you.
if it's just bursting through the door and being like, listen,
Naked.
I'm thinking of doing this guy who's 6 years younger than you.
I don't think that's
And-
I don't know if that's a good way in to not being boring.
But it's not boring.
I thought you were gonna say bust into the door with like, you know,
You could
leather
do it-
chaps
you
and
could
a
do it
wig.
in leather chaps and a wig.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to rattle things out. I mean, 4 years is not that long. So what's gonna happen? Double that.
Yeah.
This is something you need to both figure out now.
Also, there's a kid involved.
Yeah.
And by the way, I've treated so many couples that are married with kids that are unhappy, and it's tricky because you don't know when to fight and keep going because you have children, or your decisions can't be based on the child. So a lot of people hide behind the children in the sense that they won't speak up, or they'll just tolerate an abusive marriage or a mediocre one because they have children.
Yeah.
And what they don't realize is it's not fair to the kid. I think it's better for the children. I mean, it's better that two people break up and they're happy and they lead, you know, inspirational lives and set examples than be in a marriage and swallow, you know, their happiness and sacrifice, you know, for their child. And their child grows up and then they realize the truth and they're like,
And
yeah,
they're
why didn't you
living in
guys?
all of that tension all the time.
Yeah.
They're not seeing love, and
Yeah. And the energy is bad,
the
and
kids feel
the
that.
kids
They-
feel
they
that, and yeah,
they have sponge.
Yeah.
You know, they sponge it.
yeah. And listen, I don't have any kids, so I don't want to, you know, minimize the value of being, you know, one unit, and because there's also effects that divorce have on children, you know.
Oh sure.
Right,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I totally, I don't believe that you should just be in a marriage just for the sake of children. I think that's more damaging. I think it's more damaging.
I don't like this little part in here though. Okay, I've been married 4 years, and I have to do a lot for him. What does that mean?
What
does that mean?
I don't know.
I think that might be a part of this too. My chair is rolling away. You know, like where it's unbalanced. There's resentment. There's routine where a lot of the responsibility falls on her. That kind of thing. And then, so she already feels that way, and then he goes and cheats on her.
Yeah.
That's
I just had a thought. I think my condo, which I just purchased, is
It's-
slanted.
It is because
Slanted like
if
my
I
eyes.
don't hold on to the table,
It rolls back.
I would be in the back bedroom.
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh, I got
Which
ripped
is
off.
funny
I totally got
because-
ripped off.
Because your friend walked in,
Right, and he's like, the
he
floor's
was holding
uneven.
onto the walls very dramatically.
Yeah,
Oh, this
yeah.
floor is so uneven,
Yeah.
and we looked at him like he was nuts, and we talked about him behind his back a little bit, more you than me, in case you're watching. But you're right, because my chair is rolling over.
If anyone's looking for a condo, there's one for sale.
Don't give out your address
Okay.
on the internet.
Okay, so the next question. You're such an inspiration. I'm a therapist in training, about to finish my last year.
I think you
Oh,
already-
did I read that one? Your baking post made me follow you. Your Tumblr is
Done.
truly inspiring. Okay, sorry. How can I explain to my husband, another husband one, how can I explain to my husband that I need time to myself without him assuming I want to see other people? This is actually a great question.
Yeah, it is.
I think everyone in a relationship needs time for themselves.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about masturbation. Or I mean, it could be masturbation. It could be.
Could be.
It's your time.
You could do whatever you want.
But you definitely need your own life. You guys can share friends. You guys can do things together. You work out together. All that. But you definitely need your own life, and they need their life, and then you guys come together with
Yeah.
two lives instead of sharing everything.
And then it goes back to the last question. Part of staying interesting to someone is having your own
Yeah,
thoughts.
absolutely.
When you're together all the time, you tend
Yeah.
to start really thinking the same way, speaking the same language, even more than you already did, and it gets boring. And when
Yeah.
you spend time apart, you have your own thoughts, your individuality kind of grows, and then you come back with, what are you doing?
Burping.
But yeah, I think missing somebody is healthy. I think thinking about them when they're not in your face, but
Right.
you're somewhere else and you see them from kind of outside this view. You have more things that you realize about them. You have more things you
Yeah.
want to share with them. You want to say to them.
There's a greater chance you are going to outgrow someone in a codependent relationship than if you guys both have your own lives. Because then the chances of you guys growing together is greater, is higher
Yeah.
than two people that are meshed.
But it's the way that you present it too, because if you say I need alone time, that's scary.
Yeah. You don't say I need alone time. I mean, it's.
You have to say it in the right way.
Right.
Like I need to be in my head a little bit. I want to miss you. I want to think about things. I want to think my thoughts. I want
Right.
to do my stuff.
Right. The fact that this person asks how can I do that tells me that she's not used to expressing herself to her husband. There's fear there. There's something there that's
Yeah.
preventing her from. And so the challenge is to get over that, because this is just one piece. But throughout your relationship or your marriage, you're going to have to talk to him and not leave him in the dark about a lot of things. So if you're going through something, whether it's personal or things that you need and things that you want, you have to have the ability to express that.
Yes, this is true.
Right.
This is a strong need of hers, and she needs to find language. I think every couple has a certain language that they speak, that they understand what each other means. She has to figure out what that language is to communicate to him in a way that doesn't make him feel like something's wrong and going on.
All right, last question. We'll end with this.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah, we're knocking them out.
That's a question?
That is a question. This is the only question where someone put a question mark, which is
That's
interesting.
an amazing question.
Does therapy actually work? This is the question that we're going to end with.
Wow.
You go first.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. No. Okay, so you've had therapy, and I have, obviously.
Do I have to talk about this? You go first. You go
Okay.
first for once.
No, you go first. Okay, you go first. All right. Does therapy actually work? Oh my God. It depends on.
Oh, the therapist.
It depends on the relationship with the therapist, but it also depends on if you're in a place to actually do work. I think, and I've had a lot of clients that know something's wrong, that they're not happy. There's, they know they need to talk to someone. They contact me, and then we roll up our sleeves, we come up with a plan, we do stuff, or we set a schedule, and then I never hear from them again. So that may just be me because it's me. I don't know, but. Therapy only works if you work it, which sounds like an AA meeting, but
No,
you
it's
have
good.
to do the work.
Yeah.
You know, for it to
It's a lot of
work.
work. Sometimes people expect it's like taking a pill. It's just gonna fix you.
Right, right.
Just because you sit in a room with someone for 50 minutes, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's the work that you do, and it's also part of it is the match between you and the therapist. Like you said a couple weeks ago, something that I absolutely loved, like that the therapist has to awaken something in you.
Yep.
And just because you find someone in your insurance book and they have a PhD on the wall, it doesn't mean shit. If they don't have an energy that you want to that you aspire to achieve, and if they don't awaken anything in you, it's pointless. So yeah, my answer to that question is absolutely, because do I have to tell the whole story?
Yeah, whatever you want. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I was in therapy for a lot of years and never it didn't do anything for me. But it was a big part of it was that what you said in the beginning about the questions we asked ourselves. I wasn't asked any questions. I was just sort of sat there and like, okay, what's going on with you? Well, I don't know. I really had no language for it. I just knew I felt like shit all the time, wanted to die. I didn't have any vocabulary for what was going on inside of me, and they didn't ask me the questions that I needed to be asked to begin to articulate what was going on with me. So that was like, 8 years of that, different people. So that didn't work. That was pointless. I got nowhere. And then I found someone who was like, oh my God, a pit bull. And
And you needed that, right?
I needed that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that person worked.
Without her and the year and a half or so that we spent together, there's no doubt in my mind that I would not be alive today, because it was that bad, and she saved my life. And every year I send her a card thanking her. And so the right match between a person and their therapist can take you to places in your life and within yourself that you would never imagine were possible.
What the fuck was I thinking? It looked like a lifesaver. A stick of juice, a stick of gum.
I like how you throw it out and then you fish it out of the trash.
Yeah, it's kind of the setup
Constantly.
and payoff.
It's a little thing you do. You lied, so I'm not. You didn't cure me.
No. But here's going back to this, which is really good. Does therapy actually work? If you rewind this tape and we start at the beginning and you look at this area, you'll see it's very splotchy because of anxiety, because of manifesting in, whatever, talking to a camera, all this kind of stuff. And then now, and it's not gone, but now if you see it, it's less splotchy.
No, it's not. It's just as bad.
No, it's not. It's less splotchy. It's less splotchy. It's more distributed, and it's only been like 15, 20 minutes. So, does therapy work? Yeah, you actually speaking and conquering your fear of public speaking, which everyone has, and getting comfortable with the uncomfortable and you could see here that it's actually working.
It's the same as it was at the beginning.
It's not.
Next time I'm gonna wear a burqa.
I swear it's not. It's not.
A nice burqa.
No.
You can see this.
No. It's better in 20 minutes. And if you wore this at the same time over and over again, you'll see through hours that it would be completely gone.
You're just trying to con me into doing office hours every day with you.
No, and if it's being splotchy now, it's because I'm putting focus on it, and so now it's creating anxiety back up. But it was going away anyway. So does therapy work? There's so many factors involved. I've had therapists that I got nothing out of, and I felt like I've wasted my time and money.
Yes.
And then I've had therapists that changed my life.
Yeah, blew my fucking mind and changed everything.
It's the combination of who the therapist is and where you're at in your life, and I think it's that collision. Ultimately therapy is about collisions. Ultimately therapy is it's a humanistic experience. So it's less about does therapy work as like a rule of thumb, but is me interacting with this person going to change my life? And whether it's a teacher or a coach or a therapist or a counselor, whoever that person is. To me, it's about chemistry. To me, it's about you know,
Yeah.
things that are bigger than just theoric orientations and theories and psychology, because
True. And it's like dating too. It's like you've seen someone a couple times and it's just not there. Move on.
yeah, I agree.
It's not a
I
failure
agree.
on your part to stop seeing your therapist.
Yeah.
Because that magic isn't happening.
You don't have to be nice to your therapist. I would rather have someone say, "Hey, John, you know what? You may be good for someone else, but I don't think you're right for me."
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, "Well, let me help you find someone that is," instead of being super nice and being in the room doing what I think a good client should do, and then leaving feeling like you got nothing out of.
After I would say
the
like
session.
two or maybe give it 2 sessions, maybe 3. After that, you should know.
Yeah.
Okay, this person is going to awaken something in me, or this is a waste of my time.
And it takes time. Like you can't expect in one session, because think about what you're expecting. You can't expect in 50 minutes that someone's going to literally change your life.
No.
It takes hours and hours and hours and hours. I mean, how many hours does it take for you to learn geometry? How many hours does it take for you to learn algebra? I still
How
don't
many
know.
hours did it take for all of the things that are obstructing your path to form?
Right.
You know.
Right. And if you're talking about rewiring yourself and the way you think, which is very ingrained, that's going to take time. That's going to take a lot of falling down and getting up and having someone make you accountable and
Yeah.
and showing you things through different lenses. And it's a process. So does therapy actually work? Yes, it absolutely works, but only if you find the right person and that you stick with it.
Yes.
And that you dive into it, and it's not something that you're doing for
It
for
also
anyone else.
can't be a compartmentalized thing that you do once a week in your session, which is why I love what you do so much. You sort of build it into everyday life. You build that commitment to growth and to mental health into your everyday thought process.
I just do that because it's an easy way to produce content. Padilla and I, we say this is funny. We say that we talk about things, or I talk about things.
6 main ingredients.
And you're right. The thing about Taco Bell, it's all the same shit, but it's just different formats. And so I basically take my thoughts throughout the day, and I admit it. And you know what? That's I think a lot of people do this on a business level, and then put it into
Sure.
blog posts, or use that content or things that I've learned, or the experiences I've had in group or in individual sessions, and use that content to help others, and constantly,
Yes.
instead of coming up with.
Tomorrow you're launching the Fritos Chalupa, John Kim style.
Oh,
the
man.
The angry therapist version of the Fritos Chalupa.
I have 3% battery life, which is random, but I wanted to show you guys. Here's a first look at the strainer.
Our baby.
Boom.
Push a button.
Well, hold on. Oh, wait, is that? It's hard to on the. Okay, so Padilla did the graphics
Yes. Look
and
up
a lot of the cost. So you could strain your container, yourself. You have all these strains. So if you click on, say, like your sex life, it'll go boom, and then it'll start asking you questions
Yeah.
about. And here are some questions about.
Oh, you gonna read one?
Yes, sex life. So let's do real quick sex life for women.
Yeah.
Okay, for example, intimacy is sex is most appealing, so it's rated from 1 to 5. 1 with someone I am not emotionally invested in. 5 as a way to electrify the connection to someone I feel deeply for. Another question, intimacy, I'm able to fully let go and be totally present. 1 only after a gallon of tequila. 5 5 always I deserve to feel every ounce of pleasure possible. My partner also deserves to not be in it alone. So there's humor to this, and it's written in real English. It's not written all clinical.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like it gets into your head.
Yeah,
It really makes
yeah.
you think. It's kind of stuff you'll think about later on.
Esteem and body image. Okay, beliefs. I believe sex is. Wait, hold on.
What?
My ideas about sex came from a mixture of stuff like oppressive religious beliefs, dysfunctional relationships, mainstream values that I don't really agree with, condescending testosterone attitudes, and porn. Or 5, really figuring out who I am and what sets me on fire emotionally and physically. So there's a little taste of kind of the questions. It's for a mature audience.
There's a good one in there about putting it in your mouth too.
Oh, there is. I wrote that one. I wrote that one.
No,
I did.
the other one.
That's for men. And
you wrote that one because you saw mine, and then you Taco Bell'd it.
oh, that's right. I talked
You
about
Frito Chalupa it.
All right, guys. I need to drink some water because I feel like I'm getting hungover already. And look, gone. Look at that. Gone. Come on.
Not really.
Right there. Therapy. Good night. Be well.